What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today the Nintendo Switch. This console's only been out for a couple days now, and it's already one of the most talked about gadgets in years. I've had mine for about a week, and I'm actually amazed by how good it is, but it certainly has its fair share of flaws. With that being said, let's dive into my picks for the top 5 best and worst things about the Nintendo Switch. Number 5. Great controller design. Perhaps the most important aspect of a system is the controller. With this in our hands, we can go on grand adventures, defeat monsters, or just solve puzzles, but this all depends on it actually being comfortable. Since Nintendo is obsessed with innovation, they went a completely unique route with the design. Each controller is comprised of 2 smaller parts that can be played individually or put into this handle grip to be used in a more standard style. It may look a little odd, but it's seriously rather perfect. It's simple enough that you can get accustomed to it in minutes, and yet still fits all the needs of even the most complex games. Number 5. Bad online support. Right now, we really have no information on how online is going to work with this new device. There are rumors that multiplayer may be majorly tied to a cell phone app instead of being built into the system, which is just shocking. There also isn't a virtual console store at launch, so currently we don't have access to any of this company's stellar back catalog of titles. To make matters really weird though, there's no third-party programs yet. You can't even watch Netflix on it or look at the internet. Hopefully they start adding these features soon, or this is going to be a very offline system. Number 4. Good processing power. Graphics aren't something that Nintendo has ever worried too much about. Their tech is usually a bit outdated, which is why I was genuinely surprised when I first turned on Zelda and saw what they'd done with the Switch. Obviously, this still isn't as powerful as their competition, but at least it's a step in the right direction. Being able to enjoy giant open worlds and crazy explosions is great, but better than that is the fact that this will serve as an example to other developers that there's enough processor here to run some pretty hardcore projects. I think people are beginning to notice how strong this console is, and I bet that they're going to start making stuff of their own very soon. Number 4. Terrible battery. If you look at any of the marketing for this gadget, they clearly want us to think of it as the ultimate choice for on-the-go gaming. The problem is, you won't get far with a battery life that barely lasts over 2 hours. When you're playing anything with decent visuals, it sucks the energy source dry in a hurry. Turning the screen brightness all the way down, disabling Wi-Fi, and clicking off sound makes it last closer to 3 hours, but then you still have to put it back on the charging dock for an afternoon to use it portably again. Number 3. Cartridges are cool. In the modern day, nearly everything we buy comes on a disc. This itself isn't bad, but oftentimes when you put it into your console, it begins a painfully long install. There can sometimes be a day wait between when you pop it in and when you can try it. With a cartridge, on the other hand, everything is instant. I can put Zelda into my Switch and a few seconds later be running around in Hyrule. Of course there are still load screens in games, and yet it's extremely fast. Physical cartridges just have easier to access memory and aren't required to create giant files to operate. This was a bold move by Nintendo, but I'm seriously glad they did it. Number 3. Controller issues. You may have heard about the left Joy-Con disconnecting for people. I can sadly confirm that this is a very real problem. It's hard to tell why, but for some reason the left half of the controller just randomly freaks out. Many are theorizing that they accidentally placed the sensor that talks to the console in a bad spot, and it somehow forgets what's going on when you're using it. There were a few occasions while playing where my control stick would suddenly disconnect, forcing me to run in one direction until it gets the frequency back. Seeing your character walk off a cliff because of a dumb hardware error can be very, very frustrating. Number 2. It's built for multiplayer. I've always loved beating games with my friends more than anything. Every experience is more fun if we have buddies with us, and thankfully this idea is woven into the core of the Switch. There seems to be a big push in making tons of co-op games, both from indie studios and first party. Already we have Snipper Clips, which is one of the silliest 2-player puzzlers, and Super Bomberman R, a title that can be played with up to 8 other people. Nintendo has officially stated that it's their drive to make this a piece of tech that you want to share, and personally, I'm already thrilled thinking of the possibilities. Number 2. Required add-ons. If you want to get all you can out of the Switch, you're going to need some expensive extras. The internal storage space is laughably tiny, so you'll need to buy a big SD card if you plan on getting any digital games. While you're purchasing that, be sure to get a screen protector because there happens to be a horrible design flaw where it can get scratched when you're docking it. If you're craving some tag team fun, you'll certainly need at least one $80 controller, or you can get this cheap Pro controller for $70 instead. You can easily spend over $500 just trying to fully deck out your system. Number 1. Awesome Handheld. Despite many of its glaring issues, there's no denying that this is an insanely cool handheld. Being able to pick it up and walk straight out the door to continue your adventure out in the world is fantastic. There have already been so many occasions where I wanted to finish a dungeon in Breath of the Wild, so I undocked it and played it while running errands. Even in bright sunlight, it's easy to see the well-lit screen, and the Joy-Cons are great grips. I was slightly afraid that it would seem a little weird since it's so large, but really it feels just right. Number 1. No games. All the neat qualities in the world can't save this console from the devastating fact that right now it has almost no games. Over the next couple months, Nintendo promises that we'll see a flood of new titles hitting the Switch, but very few of them have solid release dates yet. For all intents and purposes, this machine is really just a Zelda player, and that better change quick or fans are going to start trading them in. While I do think that Breath of the Wild is a masterpiece, once I put it down, I'm realistically going to be putting the Switch down too, and I'm not sure how long it'll be before I pick it back up again. And for that reason, I'm awarded this my pick as the absolute worst quality about the Nintendo Switch. Did your favorite feature not make the list? Got something you hate that I didn't talk about? Leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard a lot of rumors that they coated the Nintendo Switch games with something to make them taste bad so that the kids wouldn't eat them. And I'm going to test that. Oh man, I really don't want to do this. Ugh. Ew. Oh my god. What the fuck? It's like battery acid and shame. Ugh. Oh god, orange juice makes it worse. Ugh. Why would you do that? I mean, I understand, but why did I do that? Oh god. Oh god, oh, I'm so sorry, Zelda. Oh, subscribe. Oh, God. Please give it a like. Oh, God. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, maybe check out my last video. Please subscribe, and if you want, share this somewhere with your friends.